Why, hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guy, Zollin Ironshield,
and
story
this is more than what hobbits and elves
yes,
know.
Gimli, you're awesome, but I have a thing about it. This is our very first Return to Moria official guide video, alright? Real simple guide video for you today. I'm going to walk you through how to make a character and make a seed world, and what are the differences between those in this game. There are some differences. Quickly for new players or people who are playing a while, this game is very similar, I would say, to if you've played Valheim or Ark Survival on Evolved Online, the dinosaur game. Valheim's the Viking one, right? It is very different. It's very unique, okay? This game is very unique. It's a wonderful game. It's an amazing priced game. It will be on Steam later. It might be if you're watching this video later. Right now you get it at Epic Games. I think it's like $25. It's an easy AAA game that's worth like 60 bucks. Easy. I mean, I played $60 games that are not nearly as good as this game. So, straight into the guide video though. I'm sorry. Minute of bragging at how fun this game is. It's a fun game. So first you click your start button, and just so you guys don't get confused, there's two different buttons here. We have play, campaign, and we have sandbox mode, alpha. So they're still, it's not 100% done. There's going to be a couple more big updates with it. But what's the difference? Okay, so I recommend as a new player, always do the campaign first. It has the story, it leads you through the campaign, and basically you get to learn the story of the world, and you still have a world, okay, that you can play in. Sandbox is far more for creative. I would say Sandbox is better for continuous play later, okay? Now, one thing that's really important to know, when you click either Sandbox or campaign, you will actually go to either, it goes to the same place. Just a little side note there. The next thing you need to know, and 1 second, I'm actually going to turn down the music, even though it is glorious. Even though it is glorious, we are going to turn it down slightly, because you guys are here for a guide video, so you can think. And I can think. There are characters and there are seed worlds. So right now, the first thing you're going to say is at your service, you're going to make a character. So you'll say create a dwarf. Now, this is really important. Once you've created your dwarf, I'm going to skip a little bit for a reason here. Once you've created your dwarf, when you come to click on either of those buttons in the menu, you'll just click, your name up here, and it will then take you to loading your world seed. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind when you're doing this. But first things that you're going to customize, you can also customize and retire if you've already made one. But let's start with creation. So I'm going to say create a new dwarf. Okay, you can walk yourself, most people, through this. You basically have your beards, and all these different things, and your whatever skin color, depending on maybe what clan you're from, whatever you want to role play, right? Because technically it's all the clans of the dwarves, not just Durin's clan. Durin's folk. It's the 7 fathers of the dwarfs. All the clans come together. And then you can do your eye colors or whatever. Again, they just let people be customizable with it, right? You can do a little adjustments, right, on your, shoulders and stuff. If you do a bust, that's just dwarf women can't tell any difference because of the beards. But you can not have a beard if you want to make like a dwarf woman and change the look of the head. They'll let you do that too, even though I think dwarf women have beards. But that's just my opinion. So then we have personality. This is kind of fun because you can say focused, brash, kind of just little animation there for you. Eager, it does kind of change their persona. That's kind of the personality, like how they act, how they say things. Like if they're kind of grim, they'll be like, oh, this is not looking good. That kind of thing. Versus like, if they're like eager, they're like, yeah, guys, let's go. That kind of thing. They're a little more eager. Then you have voices, okay? This is really cool.
Khazad-dûm awaits.
You can always click at the voice and see it, right? And
Khazad-dûm awaits.
And if you go through,
the mountain smiles on us today.
At your service.
So like you could be a high-voiced dwarf, or you could make that for a female voice, whatever you want to do. They just have voices.
Khazad-dûm awaits.
Oh,
It's very
if
cool.
only my Nana could see this.
Oh,
They're great voice actors.
It's a long way down.
And as a channel who, by the way, not just does guides, I also do voiceovers. So again, don't forget to throw a like and subscribe on there if this is helpful to you. So basically, another cool thing is, we're going to get to the next part here. Another cool thing is,
stronghold.
they have
Arab da irazul.
full Khazad-dûm. Okay, so there's no paywalls to get your side language. Okay, when you buy the game, you get this too. Your characters will say Khaz'dul sometimes, speaking the Dwarven tongue, the other voices, but this one will be full voiced over the whole time, these 2 voices.
Zil Arab.
So those are
Irazul.
everything they say is in Dwarven. So if you want to really roleplay, you can. Here's your origin: the glittering caves, the iron hills, the coastal mountains, the blue mountains, the red mountains, the lonely mountain, They have a couple ideas, but again, you could roleplay. You can do whatever you want. So once you've done it, you'll click save. You can also click randomize at the bottom and rotate with left click, right, with your mouse. I do not know the command if you're using a controller on the computer or if you're playing this on Xbox or PlayStation. You can play it on those too. But you can just randomize too. They also have, different facial things and stuff. It's kind of fun. There's all sorts of things you can do for characters. But now once you do that, let's save our character, okay? So then you name your character. Now this is important, your name, okay? So this is my test for video, okay? That's going to be his name. He's Mr. Test for video. So now, here is a very important point, okay? Remember I was talking about at the beginning there's differences between seed worlds and characters, okay? In this game, do not think of it if you're someone who's played Valheim that you cannot bring your character between worlds and bring stuff between worlds. For what I mean by that is world seeds are held separately than characters. Characters are their own thing. They can basically jump through dimensions, okay? So you could always play just one character, all right? You could make multiple, but you could always just play one character and go to your friends' worlds, go to, another world, make different worlds that character can go between, right? So seed worlds are different than the characters. They're not connected to the world you make, okay? So now we're going to go into the first thing you're going to see. You can join a world. This is how you join if someone was inviting you and you wanted to bring this character into it. You click join world and they would give you a code. I will explain that after we talk about creating a world ourselves for solo, okay? So create world, all right? And then right here is your choice between sandbox or for this one, it automatically will take the name of your character and name the world seed after that character. Kind of a cool little touch to kind of help you automatic, but you can totally erase that and rename the seed world whatever you want, okay? Now this world seed thing, when you guys, I'm sure there's technically, maybe later there'll be a thing that'll tell you what's a good world seed for this or that. They're all good. They all have similarities, so just go ahead and just roll it up and choose what you like, right? Doesn't really matter. Again, would recommend campaign start. Sandbox is different. Sandbox will actually have, let me just show you. So we're going to go ahead and say create campaign, all right? So now we have test world for campaign. If I go over to sandbox, I have a whole different world seed there for a sandbox I'm doing. But we're doing the test one. Now here is where you invite your friends, or those friends will give you that code where you said join world, remember that other setting? If they host online, okay, this code will pop up. This code can be changed every time you click host online, so if you show it by mistake. There's also a settings in the settings that you can turn off the code. I thought there might have been a little glitch with that in the sandbox mode, I noticed, but you can usually turn it off, so it's like you can just copy it with X's, right, so it doesn't show. You copy, send that to your friend, and then you launch the game, okay? Again, when I do it again, host look online, it'll actually be a different code. It'll be different every time you launch it when you close the server. The server runs as long as you're online, right, with your friend. It doesn't run in the background. I don't think there's any way to get dedicated servers yet to just have the server just run, but I'm pretty sure whoever's hosting server has to be online at that time. But they do work really good. So then you could also play offline, right, which is what we're going to do today. So, and you can choose your difficulties right here. Now, this difficulties I know can be changed. This is a brand new system. It's fantastic. I would recommend going with story mode early if you're just learning. Solo is a little bit more challenging, but it's just for one player. Normal, usually you want a couple people playing. That's what the aim is for. And if hard, it's like you're really going to hard mode. And then you can technically click and customize it and go up even harder. But I don't believe you can change it once you're in world. So if you're really hardcore and stuff, maybe you want to do solo or normal by yourself. Save the changes, and then I'm going to play offline, launch game. So this will launch the game, okay?
Dwarves from every clan.
And then you have the story, and I'm going to skip it. I skipped it with spacebar, but I just want to show you that basically this is a brand new world seed, right? Now, just so you guys know,
That was no normal dwarf blast.
So there's my character's voice and everything, right? So now we're in the world, okay? Again, I'll have more guide videos explaining things in the future there. Mainly this is how creating your world and your character.
I need a torch.
So now, real quick in the settings, this is important. So difficulty, you actually can customize it in whether you're playing the story mode or the sandbox. That's good to know. I didn't realize that myself. Haven't done it yet. Or you can click one of these things and just change it to whatever. But it's cool, you can do it literally live time. Now, again, you might want to put some restraints on yourself and be like, I don't want to ever put it down, easier than normal. That's up to you, right? It's your survival game. They wanted to make it your choice. I'm going to go ahead and leave world, not leave and quit. So I'm going to leave world. So now we go back to here. We go back to play. You can see if I go through here, I can go through my main character, one of my alt characters, and then there's that character. And you notice they actually move around back there. You can kind of see them standing in the back while you move through them. So again, what if I want this character? I could retire him, right? I could customize it. If you realize you didn't like something you did, you can come in here and re-customize them. You can even change the voice, right? You could do that all over again and resave it and click save. You can even rename him there if you wanted to. So keep that in mind with your character, all right? It's all unique for the character himself. But now, if we want to load a world, so again, you can here's again, this is how you join it, right? If your friend invited you with that code. Now let's say load a world, okay? Instead of create. Now here are my world seeds. Remember what I told you that my character can hop between worlds? Well, this is his world that I technically just started. But what if I had him join my main world and play offline, right? He can jump into it. And remember, anything that's in his inventory or on his little hotbar at the bottom, which I'll explain in further videos for newer players, comes with you. Okay, so now again, you go, oh, well, wait a second. Why is he still at the beginning? You always load in at the beginning of the world. So if you are a good friend, you may want to rock back to the beginning of the world and place, it's called a milestone. Sorry, not a milestone. Oh my gosh, LOTR does that. It's called a map stone, and it allows you to teleport to a location. So if I hit M here, if you look, my character doesn't have the knowledge, but you can see there's a bunch of stuff already in this world, right? And that's because my main character has already built a base, explored it, all that kind of stuff. But as you can see, I'm going to put a milestone in the future for this spot. I can click and travel. So I've already done stuff. And in theory, I could bring all of my gear with me, okay? If I was a higher level player. Now again, if you're trying to play with your friends and you don't want them, you don't want to be super strong, you could put away your heavy gear, get some lower level gear, and teleport to their world to help them out, right? With your main character. And again, for example, so if I take my main character Zollin here, and I say click him, and remember, to select your main character, you just click the name at the top in between the arrows, okay? That's how you go to the next page. Just keep that in mind if you get confused. And then basically after that, then I'm going to load a world. And let's just say I'm going to load my test world, play offline. But watch this. Look at how much gear my character has. Because remember, it comes with you. And there's no limit. Like if people have played Valheim, there's no limit to what you can carry between worlds. So in theory, if you needed a certain resource, right? The new sandbox mode, it actually refreshes and resources come back and stuff too. But if you wanted to look at a different seed world, you could, in theory, bring stuff with you, or go to another world, make another seed world. And as you can see here, I have the gear and axes, and if I open my inventory, I have all the best, super good gear, and this is my main character, right? But again, if I hit M, you can see we know nothing of this world because it's a brand new world seed. The world is all new and randomized. Okay, so I'm gonna leave world though. So that's kind of what you have to like. That's kind of the bonuses, right? But again, you could make alternate worlds just for mining a certain resource and then bring all those precious metals back to your other seed world through your character, because anything in his bag will teleport between worlds when you log in to different characters on different worlds you have, seed worlds. Now, to be very, very careful, I don't want those two worlds. So I'm going to show you real quick how you delete certain things. So I'm going to go back to characters. I don't want my test character here. So I'm going to say retire instead of customize, retire. And then are you sure you want to retire this character? You will not be able to undo this action. Remember, if he's holding really good gear in a certain world seed, it will delete everything that was at the bottom of the bar down here and in his inventory. So do not, like, if you have stuff on a character that is valuable, take it all off your character in the seed world, put it in a chest in that world you're not going to delete, right? And then come out of the world and then delete your character. Okay, again, this character has nothing on him, so I'm going to delete it. So retire, test for video. Zollin's still there, Voice of the Rings is still there, my other two characters. Now again, with if we go into load a world, this is also where you can customize things, right? I could, in theory, use these buttons down here to either rename a world, go back to the other select character screen, or I could delete a world, okay? I'm going to delete my test for video world, okay? So I'm going to click it, I'm going to say delete, and it's going to say make sure it's the right name so you don't delete one of your worlds, because it will delete your world, okay? You're not getting it back. And all the work, you know, if you built buildings, if you've explored that world with that character, all of that goes away, okay? So I'm going to delete that. But again, remember, if you join a world, okay, that you've been on before, and you're not from the beginning, if you're not joining a brand new world where you teleport in, your character will respawn into the world where he left off in that world seed. That is the only connection that I can think of between characters and world seeds, or the randomly generated world seeds, okay? That's the only really big connection there. So as you can see here, my character Zollin, who was in the other one, has now spawned in a totally different place, and you can see he's explored. Another thing that is connected between characters and worlds is depending on that, if that character has explored that seed world, he'll have the vision on the map. Okay, that's one other connection. So basically the only thing that the game memorizes that your character does, it hooked to any world seed he goes into, any realm he teleports into, basically, is it'll remember the map he's explored on that world, and it'll remember where he left off, like where he was standing. He'll reappear in that spot. So as you can see, I'm in the Dwarven instead of the Western halls, and which looks like this on this world. This is the classic original story mode world. I don't want to give you too many spoilers. That's all I'm going to say. And you can see I'm in a really cool spot here. Right, it's just it's a freaking awesome game, guys. Really recommend it. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, dwarf fan, survival game fan, the game, now that it has the hard mode bumped up, really makes it a lot more challenging, which I love. And the sandbox mode gives a lot more replayability. But I still recommend, if you're going to play the game solo at first, or with a friend or two, I recommend starting with the story mode. One time. Do the story mode once through. You can get through it in a few days. Like, I mean, if you really binge played it, I mean, I guess you get through it in like 10 hours, but one day. But it's probably like 10, 15 hours. If you're trying to just get through the story, you're not trying to build buildings or all this, mine every little detail. You just mine what you need to get through the story. You're still going to have to do some things that might take a little longer than that to make your special armor. You have to go into the delves and mine for mithril and stuff. But yeah, it's a really, really fun game. I highly recommend it. And hopefully this helps you out with starting up making your new character, the differences between seed worlds and characters, and how they are very different compared to some other survival games. So keep that all in mind. It's a fantastic game. I highly recommend. And hopefully this helped you out. If it did, please throw me a subscribe. A nice comment maybe helps out the channel. And the like is awesome. Thanks to my wonderful Patreons for their support. Thank you guys for watching the whole video. Subscribe button's there. Next episode will be up there for this playlist. Again, this will be kind of a new playlist. It'll be my guides for Return to Moria. And over there, it's the very first one in it. Over there will be Lord of the Rings Online, where I do voiceovers in LOTR. Barukazar Kuzare menu. So yes, I do voiceovers on Voice of the Rings. Who would have guessed? Stay happy, my friends. I'll see you in the next ones.